Welcome to True Wellness with Dr. D, the podcast where we explore what it takes to live with vitality, balance, and purpose. I am Dr. D, and each week I'll bring you powerful tools, inspiring stories, and expert insights to help you thrive in every area of your life. From health and wellness to mindset and navigating life's challenges, this podcast is your guide to creating a life of true well-being. Be sure to check the show notes and grab your free copy of the True Wellness Checklist so you can get started on your journey to true wellness right away. Now, let's get started. An ache, a pain, some stiffness, some tension. Anybody experience them? Oh yeah, stress gets stuck in your body. And today we are going to talk with Vince Glasser, who is a holistic practitioner with over 3 decades of experience helping people unwind stress at the very deepest level. I have known Vince for a very long time, and I always say he's got the golden hands, because when everything, anytime something goes astray in my body, I call Vince, because his magical hands work wonders. See, Vince is an expert in several things: myofascial release, as taught by John F. Barnes. He's also a teacher of transcendental meditation and has been taught by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And he also holds a master's degree in Ayurveda and integrative medicine. So Vincent's work really bridges the body, the mind, and consciousness. And today we're unpacking exactly what it takes to feel good in your body and balanced again. So Vince, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you, Danielle. Dr. Z, I like the handle. And what a beautiful, uplifting introduction. And this is the energy you always bring to everyone in your life. And it just makes you feel good. And that in itself is healing.
I love that. Well, let's get right down to it, because I know Vince. So whenever my body, like I said, kind of goes astray, I'm like, I've got to call Vince. I got to find Vince. But, people think of like massage, which is not what myofascial release is, right? But they think about, I got some tension. Let me dig in, go deep, and remove that tension. But that's kind of the opposite of what your approach is, right?
That is correct. I'd say we don't necessarily dig in. We meet the tissue where it's at. And I love your description about how we store stress in the body. We call it issues in the tissues, and it's true. It's true. Louise Hay wrote a whole book on this, and she was identifying specific aches and pains in the bodies with specific types of stresses, which is a pretty big body of work. And I would love to see that research using conventional scientific methodology to study that deeper and to prove a point, because she's definitely onto something. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to write such a book in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we know, right? We know there's a lot of evidence that supports how the body actually stores stress, stores trauma. And, I think a lot of times, I was speaking with another one of our podcast guests yesterday, and, we kind of dove in a little bit to how often what we try to do is we bury, right? Instead of actually feeling or experiencing an emotion, we bury that emotion. Well, guess where that buried emotion goes? Somewhere in the body. And I know you've seen that in your work. So tell us a little bit about that. How does that work? How do you know?
Yeah. So thank you for the question. And it's a great observation, because this is what John Barnes explains in his seminars. We experience trauma, and the tendency is to do just that, bury it. And in this society, we're taught not to feel, and the feeling is not good. That's the messaging we're getting at some level. And everyone tacitly agrees to it at some level too. Some cultures are better at expressing themselves and emotion. Others, I think of northern climes, tend to be more stoic, and the warmer climes more easygoing with their expression of this. But it's still the same principle, and it works for everybody. And so what Maharishi says what happens if we get a physical injury, let's say, it could be any type of stress, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And then the body doesn't want to experience it, so it shuts down. And if it's a physical injury, for instance, let's say it's our knee, then the feeling intelligence leaves the body.
Right.
And then because it's not there in a lively way and it hasn't healed itself, it's always calling attention to itself, saying, hey, will you get with it and start dealing with this pain already? And we know how that this is another tendency of a lot of people, is to put off. And at the same time, we're instant gratification. So we want to take the pill, the easy way out.
Mm-hmm.
So John encourages us, and when we, as therapists, we get someone on the table, it's not lay on the table and see you later, like a massage, where we gently knead, sometimes not so gently if you're getting medical massage. But in this case, we're connecting with that tissue, with the trauma, without forcing. No one wants to be dragged or forced or pulled or prodded. So if you show that person, show the tissue itself that, hey, it's safe. And then we have encouraging words saying, for instance, put your awareness here. Don't judge. Don't try. No agenda, no analyzing, just feel. And just a simple statement like it's okay to feel could trigger a release like that, because people aren't used to hearing those simple reaffirming phrases like it's okay to be a human. Go ahead and feel. If you need to cry, cry. And we don't shut it down with, and when we do this in life, oh, here, it's okay. Think of this, think of something else. No, how about let's get into it.
Right.
And feel it. And then that cracks the whole thing. And I have stories I can pull from many different areas, like with TM, for instance. And this is all one thing. Healing is healing. Knowledge is knowledge. Consciousness is consciousness. And may I get into a story with a woman I taught TM to, and I can just, go back and forth if you like?
Yeah. And just to clarify for our audience too. So TM is transcendental meditation.
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So there's a woman I taught TM to when I first became a teacher in 2000. And when you learn TM, it's 4 days in a row, and you eat for proper instruction, about an hour and a half each meeting. And she had been through 2 meetings. She was driving home. She had called me on the phone, and she was saying how she was having these thoughts about her father. She sounded upset. I said, so what's going on with your dad? And she said, he passed away. Mm-hmm. And I asked, when? And she said, 10 years ago. Mm. So, of course, I understood, and I explained to her, well, first I asked her again, did you properly grieve? She knew right away she did not.
Yeah.
So there's a perfect example. She was holding on to that stress on an unconscious level for all those years because she didn't have time to deal with it, or the desire, perhaps, because it was too intense. Of course it's intense. Losing a parent is a big deal.
Yes.
And so I simply explained to her the relaxation that the TM gave her, that deep relaxation, that's deeper than sleep, allowed her body to throw off the stress spontaneously, automatically, naturally. And she was able to, without trying, without any coaching, it just happened, to offload that stress and experience the trauma of losing a parent caused her. Right. And of course, when you let go of that, like any good cry, everyone knows a good cry will make you feel good.
Absolutely.
I feel great.
Yep.
I had a great sleep. I feel great. Why? Because you're refreshed. You got rid of stress. That's one of the functions of sleeping.
Yes. Yeah.
So with myofascial release now, we put the awareness on the tissue, and we ask the patient, where in regular massage, maybe they check out, maybe go to sleep, and that's fine and good. But when you put your awareness there, now you're paying attention to the tissue that's been calling for attention. Mm-hmm. Because it's been hardened and stressed. I'll explain that in a second. I'll go back to it.
Yes.
And then by putting up a gentle pressure, and we go in to vertically sink into the tissue, and then go to a point of resistance, and then back off there a little bit. We don't go beyond there, because now the tissue's going to get scared. And maybe we do too. So we want to show, no, we're safe. We're not going to push you. It's okay to feel. And then they feel, and then we don't have an agenda either. As a therapist, we just meet the tissue where it's at, and we let it go where it goes, without analyzing, without judging, just going along with it. And these are spiritual principles. We all know this. I think of row your boat gently down the stream. No struggling. Life is but a dream. And then
Yeah.
the tissue will relax. Sometimes the person needs a little encouragement. Okay, now hold it right there. All right, now feel that.
Yes.
And then get them engaged. That's what we want. Engagement. They're participating in the healing process. And we're
Right.
used to going to the white coats. No offense against medical doctors, a lot of great ones, but the system trains them to be a certain way. Objectify, not get involved with your client, not
Right.
connect with them, but we're doing the opposite. We're connecting very deeply with them on the level of the tissue, on the level of consciousness. And
Right.
we're saying, okay, now it's okay to feel. And that alone triggers this whole wonderful healing process. And with myofascial release, we don't rub the tissue or knead it. It behaves like John explains, like taffy. If we took a sheet of taffy and I said, Danielle, Dr. Z, would you hold one end of taffy gently? Don't squeeze it too hard, just connect with it. I'll grab the other end and we'll just introduce a light force away from each other. Nothing's going to happen initially. However, in time, that hardened taffy will start to soften and stretch and then open. And then that is the whole thing. And any emotional content that's in that caused that stress will get released at the same time. And it could come in the form of heat, movement of the tissue. Like think of a bunch of rubber bands. You start to unwind them and it unwinds.
Yes.
It's undone and there's movement there. And it's like, oh, letting go, little whatever. So it's like a little temporary instability you can think of as with the release. It may be crying or any content can come out. Usually with someone new on the table, it doesn't happen. That usually happens with someone who's really committed to the process.
Yes.
And with multiple treatments, they learn how to let go more because we're always holding.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think of this beautiful quote. Let's see if I can remember it right. By Aeneas Nin, it goes like this. And the day came when the risk it took to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. So we're getting to that junction point with the treatment, and then the blossoming happens. And the whole idea is when we remain tight in the bud, we feel safer. And just think of a boy, anybody, especially a child, when they feel scared, they go into a fetal position.
Yes.
That's a position of safety. The psoas muscles bring the knees up to the chest, and we protect our viscera, our heart. And we have this rib cage that protects our heart. And so now we're opening, and it's actually better. We're more vulnerable, but we're living more when we do that.
Right.
When we blossom.
I really love this theme. I mean, I can think back to my first myofascial release treatment, and I guess I'm culturally, I've got that Russian blood, so I'm that northern, type A, everything strong, push through all that, right? I got the Russian shoulders, and so I know the first time that I did myofascial release, I was waiting for okay, we're gonna dig in. This is gonna be amazing. He's gonna break up all that fascia, and then there's it's soft and gentle, and what's happening here, right? And then you get off the table, and you're like, holy smokes! It didn't feel like we worked hard, but man, so much gets released. And I think it's this perfect metaphor for life. A lot of our clients, they're successful, they're busy professionals. They are go, do, produce. And they get to this point when their life and with their health where they get stuck, right? Because the do, produce, that tension, it no longer yields a result, just like you were saying. And you realize at that point, whoa, maybe I need to start letting go, right? Maybe I need to take a step back. Maybe I need to just get present and grounded. And in that space, like you said, things begin to open up.
Literally, exactly right. And people are used to being forced.
Yes.
To do everything, and no one wants that. No one wants to let's go to this over here. You feel yourself resisting immediately, naturally, And they expect this with body work, and they expect to be hurt. If it's not painful, it's not going to be effective. And you just explained it perfectly. It can be that way. Sometimes we
Sure.
need to dig deep, but that's the exception rather than the rule. And
Right.
sometimes we always honor the person, honor the body. We make that very clear up front by saying, okay, anytime you feel that this is too much, let me know. I'll ease off, I'll stop, I'll let go. So you're
Right.
telling them up front, I honor you.
Right.
This is not about me, this is about you. I want you to be involved with the process. Let me know what else you're feeling. So that give me clues as to what's going on. Even though we don't analyze, we just kind of, everything's fluid. It's fluid. And so that's how we do it. Exactly right. We're not in a hurry. John Barnes says it's better to do one technique right than 30 techniques not right
Yeah,
in a
absolutely.
particular session. In other words, if I'm not pulling your leg, but if I was, the leg pulling technique is you grab the calcaneus of the patient. They'd be lying supine, comfortably on the table, and then I would grab their calcaneus, and we're not squeezing them like this. So now when you do that, that's going to alarm them. So you just hold
Right.
gently.
Yes.
We're always overdoing it. Like someone learns how to ride a motorcycle when they first start, they're over gripping, and you lose control.
Right.
So
Well, think
letting get of control, it's about letting go of control so you can get more control.
Yeah, it's so true. I can even relate to it myself, Vince, like on a day to day, right? Like when I start to kind of like go through whatever I'm going through in my head. Maybe it's something I need to do. Maybe it's a conversation that I need to have, or maybe it's something, right? And I can literally feel, right, all the tenseness just kind of building up. And I have to be like, whoa, Danielle, what's this tenseness in your shoulders, in your neck? What is that? And then literally like take a deep breath to release and calm the central nervous system, because we kind of like we white knuckle so much. And when we do that, we actually prevent flow. Because when you're like, if you're squeezing your wrist, let's say that there's like water, you're holding something that's filled with water. If you squeeze it, it all stops flowing, right? Like a hose, like a garden hose.
Perfect.
You know, if you bend that garden hose, it all stops. When you open it up, it all begins to flow. And so that's what I'm hearing in what it is that you're saying.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So sometimes people are so sensitive to touch. Once again, we never force, even if the touch is light, sometimes they're not ready for it. So you go up the body. And I remember one time, by the way, it happened at your place of business, South Bay Wellness, which still exists, when you had the building, that beautiful old building on Gillette Avenue.
Yes.
Across from Om in the Home.
Yes.
And I was treating someone, and she was interviewing me about myofascial release. She was a writer and an athlete. And I was explaining it all to her. It was in my treatment room, and it was like, the March of the Wooden Soldiers. They're right there. Push the button. I said, why don't we just demonstrate? Get on the table. And first, I looked at her posture.
Yes.
And I could see psoas. And for folks in the audience who don't know what that muscle is, PSOAS.
Yes.
It attaches to the lumbar spine and goes through the pelvis and attaches to the medial aspect of the femur, the thigh bone. And when contracted, it lifts the knee up towards the chest. In other words, allows you to walk or brings into fetal position.
Yes.
So what carries us through life is the psoas. That's why, and we have, between the surface of the abdomen and the psoas is all our enteric nervous system.
Right.
Our gut, the seat of digestion.
Yes.
And remember, Hippocrates said all diseases begin in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
He also said, let food be thy medicine, let medicine be thy food.
Right.
Ooh, that says a lot, doesn't it? And this is what you're about.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't have all the nutrients that we'd like it to have in because it's not grown properly.
Right.
And it just goes on and on and on like this. And Ayurveda, there's another axiom a proverb, whatever you want to call it, that goes without proper diet, medicine is of no use.
Absolutely. I had this conversation with someone this morning. I said, hey, listen, we could give you the best supplements in the world, but it'll never replace a good diet, right? Like, if there's nothing else that you do, you've got to focus on what you're bringing in to fuel your body, because it's so, so important. It reminds me of, like, we've got this real strong biohacking movement right now. And I have a lot of colleagues who that is their place of interest, and I love and I respect them. But I have an issue with it, right? I have an issue with a lot of what's happening in that movement is forcing the body, is pushing the body, versus actually aligning with it, right? Versus getting back to nature and understanding what it is, connecting with yourself. Because ideally we know what feels good in our body and what doesn't. We just, for so long, we've just tuned it out. Now we got to tune back in.
Bingo. Boy, we should work more together. I'm telling you, we're on the same page.
Absolutely. Vince, I know that this wasn't always your pathway, right? I know you came from a high stress, a scientific career. What did stress actually do to your body before you started to understand it intellectually?
Oh boy, that's a big can of worms. We all have our own stories, our own lessons, and they came to me after graduating from a Farmingdale College, 2-year degree in liberal arts. I thought that would give me a sense of direction because they're covering a lot of different areas.
Sure.
And I liked it. I did well because I was finally applying myself as opposed to high school, just trying to fit in or whatever, and checking out, as it were. But
Yep.
when I chose as a major when I matriculated to Binghamton, by default, business, because everyone seemed to do that. Oh, I'm going for business.
Right.
As the summer wore on, I was selling shoes at Florsheim Shoes in Sunrise Mall, Massapequa. There was a deep-seated anxiety that started coming to the surface, and I came to learn later it was my being, my essence was saying no, 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 no. And I started shaking. I couldn't even write receipts. I started getting sick in the bathroom and back. I felt helpless. I was afraid to tell anyone because I didn't want to get locked into a medical revolving door and testing. It was always scary to me. That's why I was always attracted to natural healing modalities. Always. From the beginning, first time I ever heard the word home remedy, my ears perked up.
Yeah.
You want to go to a doctor?
Right.
Sorry, guys. I mean, sometimes we need them, and that's great. I'm very grateful for it, actually. We could go on and on. This talk could go on for hours and hours and hours and
Yes.
But I realized I have to it's the business thing. It's bothering me so much. I had no idea. And this created this massive angst and massive stress. My body was rebelling by throwing up. So I read a book, classic. It's called What Color is Your Parachute? You ever hear it?
I have heard of it. I don't remember it, but I've heard of it. Maybe I've heard you talk about it.
Maybe, but it is a classic. It's regarded as a classic. And it's an exercise. And okay, so what do you like to do? It's not just reading. He gives you writing exercise, take notes, figure it out. And I as soon as I figured out what I wanted to do, all the sickness went away.
Yes.
I was at ease. Disease creates disease. And you know that as well as anybody. So we want to be comfortable in our own skin by, like you said before, aligning ourselves with nature, aligning ourselves with ourself. And that's the value of MFR. That's the value of Ayurveda. That's the value of what you do. That's the value of meditation. And once again, I think of the great Greek tradition. I'm not Greek, but that has nothing to do with it. Wisdom is wisdom. It comes from all cultures.
Absolutely.
But know thyself.
Right.
And you can only know yourself when you're in touch with yourself.
Yeah.
You experience more refined levels of perception. And then the deep breaths and then we get out of the fight or flight, which you get a case of the I got to do this. And you were saying this before in your own way. I got to do that. We're addicted to activity.
Yes.
And we're missing the being.
Yes. Yes. Precisely. We're human doings and not human beings. And gosh darn it, Vince, I'm still learning this because I have to still focus on mastering it, right?
Work in progress. That's what it is. And here's another expression I love, a proverb. It's an old Turkish proverb. Whenever you find yourself going down the wrong road, it's never too late to turn around.
Yeah.
I love that. No, it's too late. No, it's never too late. We know that one, but we don't hear the first part. No matter
Yes.
how far down the wrong road you've gone, it's never too late to turn around.
Yeah.
That gives hope and promise, and it lightens us up. And I just talked. I had lunch at an Indian restaurant I love so much. They fresh cook the food every day, by the way.
Love it.
And there were three Indian gentlemen who were business partners, and one of them said he had been an alcoholic and smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. He's 60 years old, but he looks healthy. He changed everything. He's happy now.
Yes.
If he got rid of those addictive behaviors through a spiritual awakening inside, that's the way it usually happens.
Right.
Stress will bring it to that. And to finish looping around to the question you asked before, that was part one, that experience of having to read that book and coming out that way. And then a second experience was when I was working as a hydrogeologist. That's the science part of me. That's a groundwater scientist. Always love the outdoors and nature, whether it's inner nature or outer nature, because it's really all one thing anyway.
It is, isn't it?
So I'm into bird watching and surfing. These are my activities that keep me happy, to be in touch with nature. And you walk down a path, I see someone, hey, how you doing? I realize they didn't hear me. Why? They got earbuds.
Right.
They're in the park.
Or they're on their phones, head
They're on
down.
their phones.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Just settle down and be one with that which you're one with. But we lose our way.
We do.
Where was I going with this thread when I digressed off?
I know you're doing great. You're talking about that second part that kind of woke you up to what the stress is doing.
I remember now. Okay, thank you. So I was in a career as a hydrogeologist. I started at the bottom as a field technician. That's another word for grunt. And that's fine. I had no problem with it. Hey, Vin, go get that. Go get the pump. Go get the bottles, and we'll take samples. Never had a problem with that. You want to learn from the ground up anyway. Yes. So I became a senior scientist, managing projects, and now I'm bucking for my next promotion, principal scientist. But I was paying the price. What was the price? My health. Why? Because I was working too much, doing too much. And I started feeling it on the inside. And before it manifested into a heart attack, I was 30, in late 30s. Before it manifested into a heart attack or some crisis, I knew I had to do something. And, they say when the student's ready, the teacher comes.
Right.
That's what happened. I got the message. I was ready, and it came. Yeah. You got to be ready. You got to be ready. And someone told me about TM, and that put me on the path right there. That made everything super clear.
Right.
And I could go on and on with that story. That was in 1992. I learned TM a couple of months later in 93. And then I went to massage school in 2008. I did a 6-month, it's a 2-year program, but the school I went to has an accelerated program. You can do the whole 2 years and condense 6 months. I like that idea.
Yes.
I did it. And then I heard about John Barnes MFR. That was 2009. And I went gangbusters for the whole darn thing. I took about 20 seminars. It was amazing. What an amazing ride. I can go on and on about that. And then I did the master's in 2018 in Ayurveda because I was always interested in becoming a doctor when I was younger.
Right.
And now all natural. And I'm not done. I don't know what I'm doing next, but it's probably going to be a PhD like you in Ayurveda. Serious.
I love it. I love it. Lifelong learning is, I think, truly, truly important. So, Vince, I think I hear a lot of time from, especially like the clients in my practice. At some point, they'll be like, Dr. D, I'm managing stress just fine. When people say that, what are the signs in their body that their body might strongly disagree that they're managing stress just fine?
Eyes, shoulders, posture. Yeah. We all know, if anyone's been to yoga, the yoga teacher will go, okay, drop your shoulders, and until they touch and go, oh,
right.
Yes, I was doing that. And this is part you think of when you get scared, you freeze.
You do. Mm-hmm. You tense.
And if you're in low level fight or flight, it's all the time. So the fascia, which is interwoven in the muscles, myo refers to muscles, It's a Greek root word for muscle, MYO, and fascia is the connective tissue itself.
Sure.
So myofascia refers to muscle fascia, but I don't know why. John Barnes could have just called it fascia release. Because
Mm.
we're releasing whatever fascia is there by gently connecting with it and allowing it to rehydrate and stretch. Because
Yeah.
he described it as a system of liquid crystalline microtubules,
Right.
which goes to every cell to deliver nutrients and information at nearly the speed of light, he describes. Whereas our physical nerves that come off of our spinal column and reach
Mhm.
tissues, not cells, tissues. It's electrochemical process. This is different. The approach is different, and the fascia, once again, it goes to every cell, but it's like marbled into the muscle, not fat. Because you think of marbling, you think of a steak with the fat and stuff like that. But if you make chicken and you're butchering a chicken, you see the white film around the muscle groups. That's fascia.
Right.
So the approach is connect with it and allow it to open
Mm.
without forcing. Sometimes we need to use knees. That's very rare. Like get someone on the floor and dig in. That I mean, you know it from having touched patients yourself. You put your hand on a healthy young man or woman, and the tissue is going to be. You could feel it's healthy. It's
Right.
supple. It can be firm and supple at the same time.
Right.
If you go to let's say a construction worker who's been working physically hard for so long, you put your hand up, it feels like cement.
Yeah.
That's when you
Yeah.
need elbows and knees, and you got
Yeah.
to dig in there because it's so hard and for so long.
Yeah.
So it all boils down to maintenance. But once again, it's never too late to open up, and you can use myofascial release in conjunction with other treatments. This is the same with Ayurveda. While
Sure.
you're taking the meds, going through any surgery you might need, you could always nourish, like this is what you do, nourish the body while you're doing Western medical interventions. Same
Right.
idea. So it's always integrative. It's not exclusionary. If once again, to finish the quote before, with proper diet, medicine is of no need. The other part is without proper diet, medicine is of no use. I'm
Right.
making a point. I'm saying one thing that sounds like I'm saying two different things, but not quite. Of course, we're talking about surgeries and into fixing broken bones and rehab and stuff like that. But and sometimes you absolutely need that. This is where modern medicine excels. You know this,
Of
but you
course.
always need to support the body in its natural healing processes. This is why doctors tell us to get plenty of rest. That does the healing.
Yeah, it does. Speaking about rest, um, why do you think so many high achieving people actually resist the stillness, resist the rest when they probably really desperately need it?
I think of the maxim most people identify with in this culture. You get it in athletics, you get it in academics, you get it in everything, and that is no pain, no gain.
Yes.
And
Mm.
I don't. I believe in the nursery rhyme my mom always sang to me, "Row, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily." That attracted me. I'm like, because that's true. I think it's true. You don't have to fight, fight, fight. You can
Yes,
go along with your natural flow of things, and to do that, I think you need to meditate and be at home with yourself as you get to know yourself, as
absolutely.
opposed to, and this gets into self sovereignty and everything. Like instead of, and we all know people who do it, including ourselves, to
Hmm.
some degree, doing what other people want us to do, as opposed to get in touch with ourselves and being true to yourself,
Yes.
doing what you're meant to do, regardless of what anybody says.
Yes.
Even if
That.
you make people unhappy. That's called self sovereignty. That's called
Yes.
self knowledge. That's called applying knowledge to further yourself. And now that you're taking care of yourself, you can take care of others. We know
Right.
from the airplane, oxygen mask drops. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, put the oxygen mask on you before you do your baby.
Well, let's dive into that a little bit because I know that you use this phrase like reclaiming personal sovereignty. What does that mean in terms of health?
Education. Educate yourself.
Hmm.
And how do we know this? From ancient wisdom, from the Chinese, from the ancient India, from Native America, from native cultures anywhere. There's always this natural approach to healing that's there. You watch the movies that they make fun of it, but you know there's something to it. There's no medical doctor around. They're in the jungle and they find a tribe and they do some ritual. They make fun of it and they kind of marginalize it, but at the same time, there's something to it. I think it's fascinating. My opinion, what they're doing, shaman, they have knowledge of herbs. They have knowledge of how to get out of the left brain, which is the analytical mind, and get into the expansive right brain,
Yes.
where the healing takes place. And John Bond says this. This is why we don't analyze when we do MFR, myofascial release. We just feel it and let it go without trying to figure it out. As soon as you engage the intellectual side, you're thwarting the healing process.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Get out of our own way.
Yep. Get out of our own way. It's funny, we use in our practice at South Bay Wellness, we use like neuro-linguistic programming as one of our tools and techniques. And it really is, we always explain to people that, you've got your unconscious mind and you've got your conscious mind, right? Your conscious mind is the one that like makes the decisions, but your unconscious mind is really the one that's driving the actions and running the show. And right in between those two, there was like this analytical wedge. And until we can actually step out of that analytical wedge, right? Until we can get out of that space, the two can't come together. The two can't literally relate to one another. It's part of that vehicle of self-sabotage that really keeps people stuck. And so a lot of times when I'm doing neuro-linguistic programming with someone, I'll say, okay, let's turn down that analytical mirror, because a lot of people who are like type A, driven, successful, that meter is always on. I know I got to tell myself, okay, shut off, turn that meter down. This is not something to figure out, like just be.
Beautiful. I love it. You learned your wisdom from your channels, and it's the same as the wisdom that I've learned through my channels. Yeah. And wisdom is wisdom, truth is truth, and the truth shall set you free. I love that. It's great. I love it.
I love that.
I had another thing. You were hitting on something that made me want to say something about what you were just talking about. Sometimes that happens. It just flies away like a bird in the hand,
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about that, right? About that self-realization piece. Like what, from your world and your perspective, what does self-realization really have to do with physical healing?
Oh, wow. Well, when you get more refined, when you meditate, and with TM, I brought my crayons with me in case you should need them. Hello. And my little whiteboard, if I may.
Well, most of our people are listening, so explain to us with words.
Okay. Thank you for that. All right, good. Put the crayons away. When I say crayons, I mean my whiteboard and markers.
Yes.
Or markers. So think of our surface level of the mind, the busy mind, like the surface of the ocean.
Yes.
It's busy and changing and maybe a little chaotic.
Right.
And we're like sailors upon this ocean of relativity, changing values and circumstances. And we want to be able to navigate. And you'll always navigate with knowledge. We have our sextant out. We have our compass. We may have a moral compass. We may have some teacher that provides some guidance for us, or wisdom passed down from our family from many different ways. And we go. But when we meditate, in TM, we use mantras. And these are words without sounds. Yes. And these words without meanings, excuse me. And all words are sounds. And even if they have no meaning, the sounds, and all sounds have vibration or frequency.
Right.
Frequency. Right. So when used properly, these mantras, and this is a technique we practice eyes closed, sitting upright.
Yes.
When practiced properly, without forcing, the mind will start to settle down, but we're still awake on the inside. We still hear noises. We are awake and we're more settled. And as the mantra fades away, the whole mental machinery starts to settle. And as that happens, we're literally experiencing more refined perception.
Yes.
If you're in a noisy environment, you hear something that maybe that was so-and-so. but you can't hear it because you're being drowned out by the noises. But as
Right.
you settle down more and more, you see more and more. And we're all seers. We're knowers. And we want to know ourselves. So to do so, you need clarity. To get clarity, you need to settle down. So as the mind settles down further and further, then it will reach that point. The Doors described it as break on through the other side. What's the other side? Pure, pure awareness,
Right.
pure consciousness. And
Yeah.
now it's just we're transcendental to the thinking process, to the senses. That happens because mind and body are so intimately connected. Mind settles down, body settles down, gets a
Right.
level of rest deeper than sleep, significantly deeper than sleep, and therefore the body can throw off stress, deep-rooted stresses that sleep alone can't get rid of.
Right.
And that brings greater clarity and understanding and compassion and ability to relate to other people because we realize we're all the same. And that's the ground state of sameness is the field of pure consciousness, which Einstein described in his way as the unified field of all the laws of nature. You may
Sure.
have heard that term.
Yes.
Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who brought us TM from India in 1958, he said he studied physics in college. And he said that unified field that Einstein talked about is our pure consciousness. So in a sense, we become masters of the universe. And he describes that field as a field of all knowledge, a home of all knowledge. And this is how the rishis of old gained knowledge, through insight, by diving inward and
Yes.
experiencing that field and
Yes.
absorbing and harnessing that field of infinite correlation, infinite possibilities, and applying that to our life without even trying, just by having contacted it, because now we're calmer, now we're clearer, now we're
Yes.
more compassionate, now we get along better with people, we're more at peace with ourselves, more at peace with our environment, and therefore we can accomplish more.
Yeah.
It
It's so powerful, right? And again, it's not by force. It's by
can't be.
stillness.
It can't be. My little saying for this is the accelerator pedal in this process of meditating, or any, you can apply it to anything, is same as MFR, is the brake, is the brake. The gas pedal is the brake. You can't hurry it. Can't hurry love. That's what they say to us, right? So you can't hurry to see it. It's natural. You got to let it happen. But we're so in a hurry, instant gratification. I want the headache to go away. I want this pain to go away right now. I want to shut it off and, turn this on and shut off ourselves, really, what we're doing. All the technologies.
Yes.
So what we do with the TM is the technologies of consciousness.
Yeah, I like that. The technology of consciousness, which is probably one of the most advanced technologies, huh?
Yeah, because it's all inclusive of everything and everyone.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So tell me, Vince, if someone feels overwhelmed, if they feel stuck, where should they start? Their body, their mind, their lifestyle? Where do they go to begin to kind of integrate the things that we're talking about?
You just answered your own question, body, mind, lifestyle. I would say, well, it just comes with the awareness that something's off. Like I felt, oh, I got to do something about this. Something's wrong with me and I don't like it. Oh, I'm not doing the thing I should be doing. Great. Now I got clarity. It was work and I had to pay for it with pain. But yeah, I was going to go digressing, but I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that. That's a can of worms. So when you have awareness, now you can make a better decision.
Yes.
And then you can change your course of direction. You were going down the wrong road. Okay, now the light went on over here and I can see the road I want to go on. You don't go hiking in the dark unless you got moonlight or stars or some other way to navigate.
Yes. Yeah.
And our navigation is the pure consciousness. That's our navigator. We want to touch base with that navigation, that star system within us, so we can find our way. And a lot of people I taught, they were lost. They didn't know what they wanted to do, including me.
Sure. We all get there, right?
Everyone. Now, when I learned how to meditate, and I had been meditating for a couple of years, and I went away on a course that we were meditating deeply for 2 weeks. Can you imagine?
Yes, I can. Courses.
This is 2 years after I learned how to meditate, and now I was reaping the benefits of TM. I was calmer, cooler. I saved myself, so to speak.
Yes.
Now I go away for 2 weeks, and I had been happy with this company, happy with the job. I got myself together and cool, calm, and collected, right? Yeah, everyone wants to be together. And I get back to the office, and the most amazing thing happened. I walked in the office, and I realized, oh, it's over. This part of my life is over. What a surprise. Was it scary? No. It was just pure awareness of my real situation, what I really needed to do, which was not that.
Right.
It was not that. And so I wondered, I remember as clear as day. This is 1995 now. And I remember, what am I going to do? I don't know. I didn't worry about it, but I heard a knock like the next day at my door. I had my own office space, my name on it and everything. It's the office manager. Hi, Joe, come on in. Mopping his head. For those who were watching. Fight or flight. He's stressed out of his socks. Why? Because letting someone go from your company is the hardest thing any boss will ever have to do. Unless you're a good, compassionate boss. And he was. And he goes, Vince, we got to let you go. The stated reason for letting me go was the backlog was not there. The stack-up of jobs awaiting me to manage them, and the work from existing clients wasn't there to justify me continuing in the position I was with the company at that time, at that level.
Right.
And because we were experiencing tough times overall, and other people had backlog issues too. You were lucky if you had a client that had stuff the regulator said you have to do. This is going to take 10 years to do.
Right.
And you were the man. And people do get hooked into projects for decades. But I laughed at him because I knew what was happening. What happened was, out of the awareness of this is over for me, nature responded to that awareness saying, oh, well, you're out. So I laughed at him happily, not mockingly, in the realization that what was happening was nature had organized me to leave without me having to do anything about it. And this is being in touch with yourself. This is being in tune with nature, being in line with the laws of nature. And when you are, it's less you have to do because you're getting the support of, Maharishi called it the support of natural law.
Yeah. It's like the universe is always conspiring in your highest and best interest.
Yes.
Now tune into that. Yeah.
And when I did the book, What Color is Your Parachute? It took me a lot of work to get to that clarity.
Yeah.
But now I did it effortlessly. But I realized when I did come to the realization, when you declare a major going to college, and I was a matriculating student, 2-year going into a 4-year program to finish, they want to know your major before you enroll. You just can't go on taking courses you want, and they don't like you changing majors.
Right.
When the semester's just about to start because they got the loads all doled out. And I like 2 weeks left for the semester to start, and I called I'm worried. I'm like, oh, geez, I hope they let me. No problem. It was like nature, all the angels in heaven, everyone just said, he's doing what he should be doing. Let him do it. Let's make this easy for him. I realized that. This is pre-meditation. And then when I had this experience going away for 2 weeks and all the stress I let go of automatically and the clarity I got without expecting it, boom. And I realized how manifestation works better from a state of mental clarity gained through meditation.
Right.
By being in touch with your being.
Yeah. Not by being in touch with your knowing or your thinking or your analytics, but being in touch with your being. I love that. And I think so many of our listeners are, I think they're tuning in to what that really means. And, we've forgotten it in this day and age where, we tune into the social media scroll instead of tuning in to ourselves. And, I say that because I do it too, right? We're just constantly trying to bring ourselves back to that place. And I think that is part of the journey, right? It's part of the muscle is being able to continue to come back to that space where we are present with our being, not necessarily with our knowing. And there's a lot of peace in there.
Beautiful, but it's I think you just triggered many different thoughts. Muscles need rest. You go to the gym, even the guys who pump themselves up, the big Hulk, and you have to take time off to allow the muscle to recover. We
Right.
need to take time off from the doing.
Yep.
So we can recover and then do more doing, be stronger. Think of the eye of the storm. A hurricane needs a silent, strong, well-defined silent eye.
Mm-hmm.
Its outlying arms are more powerful.
Right.
Well, we want to make our inner silence strong so we could be more powerful, not in a destructive way, but in a constructive way. And I think of the eye of a storm. It's perfectly quiet, no wind. It's the still point. And I think of it as the I, like the letter I, like the you, the me, the I.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
getting to know ourselves, the I. And then we can see better. There's another I, right? The seeing
Yes.
eye. Insight, outer vision, inner vision. We need to integrate the two. The left brain, right brain, inner vision, outer vision, self, non-self, enlightenment, and awareness of the connection on a level of experience, not just intellectual understanding.
Yeah. I love that. So Vince, if you could leave our listeners with one truth about their body that would change how they approach their health and their life forever, what would it be? If you need to, you can do two too.
Well, I just want to tell the audience that you didn't tell me you were going to ask me that question. You didn't warn me. But I like it. This whole thing, by the way, audience, has been 100% spontaneous. And
Yes.
Danielle is a master at it. Most of the time, I forgot I was actually involved with a podcast because you make your guests feel so comfortable and so natural because that's you.
Oh, thank you.
This is why we've been friends for how long? 15 years, something like that.
At least. Yeah, no, at least. Yeah.
At least about that, but at least. Yeah. So say that again, that question. Oh, one thought about
Truth about
the body.
About their body that would change how they approach their health. What's that truth?
Well, I'll say the answer is embedded in the question. What you do with your body affects your health. What you do with your health affects your body. It's this interrelationship. So be in touch with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And by seeing someone who's a good therapist, who, because everyone's got knots in their body, we know this, and a myofascial therapist will look at your posture to identify the stresses, and then you can just start somewhere.
Yeah.
All you need to do is take a step, and that would be the first step, getting in tune with your body with the facilitation of someone who's taught to teach you how to do that.
Right.
And to help you with it. And then there's even a lot of self-treatment you can do. I think you had indicated you'd be interested in that sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a book I'd like to share. Maybe you can.
Yes, go for it.
So the name of the book is Comprehensive Myofascial Self-Treatment. It has a subtitle, but I don't want to give that now because you don't need it. The author is Joyce, Joyce, Karnis, Karnis, Patterson, Patterson, and she's a PT, so physical therapist. Beautiful book, beautiful book. It explains all the principles of MFR, myofascial release. And in fact, John Barnes wrote the, I think, preface or introduction to the book.
Sure. So they can use that then to start to connect with their body, begin to release some of that stress and strain is what I'm hearing.
Yep. And another thing is TM, Transcendental Meditation, an extremely powerful technique for settling down the awareness to give you more awareness, more clarity in your mind and your body. A lot of people find the stresses start leaving their body because that's what it's about, getting rid of stress. And I think you have you're going to give that out later, the email address, and there is a tm.org website. You can learn more about TM.
Yes.
It's a great stress buster. In fact, Transcendental Meditation has been recognized by the American College of Cardiology and the American Heart Association as being the only meditative technique. It's the only one cited that can help manage in a natural way high blood pressure.
It's amazing.
Reduce heart disease. So it's really a phenomenal. We knew it all this time, but now
Right.
we did. We knew it.
It's good to check off that additional box there.
Oh yeah.
So Vince,
Yes.
thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your gifts with our audience. I know that our listeners are going to walk away touched, moved, inspired, and starting to think about, okay, how do I come into that stillness? How do I work with my body versus actually forcing my body? So, and for those of you who are on Long Island in New York, like I said, Vince is he's got those golden hands that clears all of it away. Simply amazing.
Thank you.
And then they can reach out to you via email. You can find his email in our show notes to ask any follow-up questions or things like that from today's episode. So thank you again, Vince, for being here with us today.
You're very welcome. Can I add something?
Yes, absolutely.
Anyone who wants to know more about Ayurveda or anything, I'll give a free show on Ayurveda. We could do that sometime too if you want.
Absolutely.
I have a slideshow. It takes about an hour and a half, and it's an educational thing, and I don't pressure anyone. I'm happy to educate.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. We'll see you for the next episode of True Wellness with Dr. D. This is Dr. D reminding you to tune into your body, connect with what matters, and embrace the journey to true wellness. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to redefine their health. Be sure to grab a copy of the True Wellness checklist right in the show notes. Let's keep redefining wellness and empowering change together. See you for the next episode.